Nanosaur.
Yeah, it's Ross here with 2 S's.
Okay,
And,
yeah, not Ross like the robot operating system, and not Ross like the store. Ross, the gentleman.
Actually, Ross from the Homebrew Robotics Club.
All right, Ross.
Hi, Tom. I saw you last week.
Good.
And weeks
Nice,
before that.
nice to see you again. You're gonna? Did you put your name on the list?
Yeah, I did, I believe. Sure.
I see it. You're gonna show off your Foxy Ross. Your
I
Foxy
guess
Ross.
yeah, correct. Yeah. It's
Nanosaur.
very much right.
Okay.
Brand new. Auto.
Great. All right. Well, starting at the top, Ben, you're up. You ready?
I'm ready.
Go for it. You're up. Let me stop my share. Hold on. I'm stopping the share. There we go. All yours, Ben.
All right. So I'm sure you guys have heard of OpenCat, the open source kitty cat that's made out of laser cut wood. So this is its, I guess, big brother. Let me turn off the background. This is its fancy big brother. It's a dog. His name is Biddle, and it's made by the same guy that designed the OpenCat. Except this guy, OpenCat, uses a regular Raspberry Pi, but Biddle comes with a custom built Arduino that it's barely compatible with Arduino. I mean, it's compatible. I mean, the IDE recognizes it as Arduino Uno, but the drivers don't work for it. So you have to kind of figure out different ways. Here's the board. I don't know if you guys can see it. It's missing a lot of components like the programmer, the power supply. All of that is supplied separately through kind of little other boards that plug into it. So the board itself, there's no way to program it from anywhere unless you plug in these other little boards. So here's the one for the USB. You need this guy to plug into it through USB. But again, regular Windows computer or any computer doesn't recognize this as anything. So you have to download some Chinese drivers. I was telling you that the site they provided is a 100% Chinese website, and it was all in Chinese, so I didn't trust it to know what I was downloading. But they also give you this guy, another little board, which is Bluetooth. And this guy, I mean, it's just Bluetooth, so I was able to connect to it through this and program it through here. They also provide this guy, which is USB. I mean, a Wi-Fi, and you can do the same thing through Wi-Fi. So all of these boards connect to the same interface right here. They added a little connector there. So the only way to connect to it is by plugging in one of these boards. And since it's very similar to OpenCat, I was able to use some of the code from OpenCat, like the walk sequence. And now let me share my screen to show you guys some of the progress. His name is Biddle, by the way. And here's a better picture of what the insides look like. See, this is the board plugged in to the interface, but this board, unless you have the Chinese driver, you won't be able to connect to it. And oh, come on. There you go. Okay, so here's the first video of the progress. This was one of the first attempts. So what's happening is that he's too front heavy, and the legs just aren't going, forward enough. And then the IMU kicks in, and it completely throws it off balance because the IMU thinks it's going to flip over, so it tries to push the legs forward, and it makes a jump. So after some adjustments,
First hit.
oh, this is when he goes into this feedback loop on the IMU that he just goes crazy. So I still gotta figure out how to fix that. Sometimes the IMU, when he's upside down or in an odd angle, it goes into this feedback loop and it just goes crazy.
Second balance test.
So now he's walking a little better. And
Learning how to walk. Okay, stop it. Ready? I'm gonna see if he can get up using his. Yep.
so that was him getting up from the. So this is what I was trying to do from the beginning with the IMU to get him to do that, but sometimes it goes into a feedback loop from the IMU and it'll go crazy.
He has a gyro that he can detect his orientation. So he can get up upside down.
So that's where I'm at with his name is Biddle. That's where I'm at with Biddle.
That's cool, Ben. I didn't know you got a biddle.
Yeah.
Because it was like a month ago or something, or 2 months ago, whenever it started, it was hit the press, right? A few months ago.
I supported the project back in when like it barely came out. So it was sometime like early last year. And they barely shipped it just recently.
Oh, so that was that a Kickstarter? It was a Kickstarter, right?
It was on the other side. What was it called? Not Kickstarter, but
the other one. I forget.
I forget the name, but yeah.
Yeah, because it's the same people that did the cat.
Yeah, Open Cat.
Yeah, which Tig, one of our members, my friend Tig, he worked on it, but he couldn't. He kind of had some issues. It's definitely a hobby. It's definitely a maker's project. It's not a out of the box working.
No. I mean, a lot of the Open Cat code kind of works for it. Like the walk sequence, that's what I use for it to walk, but it still needs a lot of adjustment.
Sounds like you have to fine tune it for the body and everything.
Yeah.
That takes some time. That's pretty cool, Ben. What did he cost anyway? Did it cost a lot or?
I guess I was like one of the early backers. It was something like 120, but right now it's like over 200.
200? Oh, you're on one of the original Kickstarter projects there with it or something, or?
Yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
Nibble is the cat. NYBBLE.
Yeah.
Did somebody in the club have one of the cats? I remember seeing somebody bring one once.
They didn't bring it. My friend Tig had one, has one, but he, I don't know. He only showed pictures. I don't know if he brought it in. He might have, but it's been a long time. But it wasn't fully working. Yeah, it had some assembly issues. They're very difficult to get the servos exactly right. Something was
a lot of variables in there, getting everything adjusted, I would imagine.
Even though it's a kit, I mean, it's a kit. they send you the instructions, but it's not that simple.
There are instructions, and it's kind of easy to put together, but it has some springs in the legs. Let me see if you guys can see them. Oh, let me take the background off. They were the most difficult part to get in. If you guys can see the legs.
Yeah,
has
got
some
those
springs
cables
in
down
it.
to the legs.
No, the little springs there.
Oh, a little spring in the, yeah.
Back up
Those
a little. It's
things are-
blurry.
Those are, I guess, to protect the leg and the servo from in case it gets stuck or something. And they're very heavy springs, and to squeeze them down and get them in there, that was the hardest part.
Mm.
So Ben, one of the many things I'm wondering about on this project is on this guy is from my limited experience of trying to get servos to do cool robotic-y things. Like there was a whole process of tuning the servo and the endpoints and the range to get something resembling, if I say go to 90 degrees, it goes to 90 degrees, you know, plus or minus the dead zone. What's built into the kit in the instructions, or does they just say kind of wing it? Is there a calibration procedure or
It
tuning
does
procedure?
have a calibration procedure that puts everything at 90. And from there, you can go from there and adjust individual ones or whatever you need to do.
Okay, so in this one, you're basically adjusting like the 0 point or the 90 point, and then from there, it's just doing math to figure out where your 0
Yep.
and 180 is. Okay.
Yeah, so the servos, this is where the servos are at 90. Like if I can get them right.
That's his neutral position.
Yeah, these are the neutral positions with the legs kind of underneath it and sticking forward.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's neutral at. And from there, you adjust as you need it.
So how long did it take you to put them together?
An hour maybe. I mean, it's not, the body is all one piece. It was sent as all one piece, but it can be taken apart, and then you just got to do the legs and putting all the electronics. So it doesn't really take that long to put them together.
Sounds like getting it all calibrated, everything is a tricky part.
Yeah, getting the code to work, because again, since you're using the stuff from your own stuff, and I use the walking sequence from OpenCat, it also requires a bunch of libraries that they don't include, so you have to go around hunting libraries. Oh, and then another problem that I encountered, that it has very little, the Arduino has very little memory. So some of the libraries that you have to include are way more than what the memory capacity of the board. So then you have to get creative, like where can you cut stuff off that's not gonna work? So I had to go into the libraries and start cutting off code that wasn't needed for like the IMU, for the little infrared sensor, all that stuff. There was a lot of stuff in there that was just overhead until I was able to get it to compile, because otherwise it's just too much for this memory.
So what type of an Adreno is in that thing anyway?
It's a custom board that's compatible with Arduino Uno.
And if they are running out of memory, if it's compatible with the Uno, then they really got some complicated libraries for this thing, it sounds like.
Yeah, it uses a few libraries that you have to use, because like the IMU, the IR sensor, all of that stuff, they all have a different library, but everything all together is more than the little memory that can hold.
Oh, did they give you, was there an example to like that worked? I mean, as far as the
No.
software? So
No.
that's unexpected. Usually they,
Give you
No.
enough to do a start from, I would think.
yeah, usually you don't have to be cutting out code just to get, that's.
Yeah, you have to cut out code, because all the libraries, there's just way too much.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Well, they should come up with a board that's got more to the, like maybe the mega size or something, but shrink it down.
Out of the box, it doesn't work.
Yeah, maybe it's designed, or maybe, well, some of us like that anyway, I guess. You know, that's part of the challenge. I don't know. But not too much.
I wonder what size board with all the programs in it would allow all the programs to fit in one board. I wonder what size Arduino board would be compatible.
It was a challenge to kind of debug all the stuff, because the first thing that I ran into is that I couldn't connect to it because the USB driver is I don't know, they don't include it, and then you have to go around trying to go through forums and all kinds of stuff, try to figure out why. At first I thought that I had a bad board because it wasn't detecting it as an Arduino.
Mhm.
They say it's an Arduino Uno, but nope, it wasn't registering until I found out.
Out of
they used
curiosity,
the
Ben, have you
server.
tried to load the code into an actual Arduino Uno, so the full code, to see if it loads?
It probably will. I mean, I don't see why you wouldn't.
Well, now you're saying it's compatible to an Uno, but there's not enough memory in that board to run it. If you tried putting the code into an actual Uno board to see if it will all load?
No, I haven't.
Because if that's the problem, I would swap the board out for an Arduino Uno or something else and plug it all together, you know, go around
I
it.
don't think it won't fit in here, because to be able to get this board, they had to cut out a lot of stuff, a lot of components from the Arduino, like the programmer, the power supply, and all that stuff.
So they made a custom board, but not enough memory on the board to make it do anything. That sort of sucks.
Well, maybe they intended it to like, you only do one thing at a time. I mean,
One function at a time.
yeah, well, I mean, just like,
I
yeah, it doesn't make sense, but
was able to get a lot of functionality out of it.
maybe, yeah, I mean, maybe they just didn't, you can't use all the sensors at once. Can you even, do you think, Ben, if you just try to make it walk alone, it would be enough memory?
Oh yeah, yeah. But I wanted the IMU to be able to detect its angle and orientation and that kind of stuff.
Right. Maybe,
Right.
see, if they just put some information like you can do IMU and you can do walking, but you can't do this, that, and the other, you know, you can't do everything, but you can do 2 out of 5 or something.
So some of the documentation, it says that everything is compatible with the Pi. So you can also use a Pi cam and all that kind of stuff to kind of give it more sense. But I haven't tried that. I don't know if I can fit the Pi inside there though. Maybe a 0.
I don't know. I do remember seeing some videos with a camera in its mouth and walking around and trying to avoid stuff. But
yeah, that's
I'm
where
looking
it
at
goes.
one, right?
The head pops off actually, but the mouth, it opens up. I don't know if you guys can see it.
oh yeah, okay.
And you can put it'll hold the camera or ultrasound or whatever in his mouth.
Yeah, I'm looking at the
Sounds like you got a
Indiegogo.
bit of a challenge there, man.
It's been fun.
Yeah, it looks like they can do a lot. I mean, what if if you put a lot of effort in, if you go to that Indiegogo site, that's the site, right? Indiegogo.
Yeah. That's where.
So Indiegogo has, they have videos of it with the camera in the mouth, and it's like following a wand of sorts, and
Yeah, I mean, once you get into the Pi, you can use ROS on it and all that good stuff.
So what
Yeah.
did he make, a Pi compatible board for it or something, or
No, you
parallel
just use
processing, or what?
You just use the Pi.
Instead of the board that's in there?
Yeah.
Well, maybe that's what they want you to do. They give you something that's sort of can get you appetite whetted to a point, and then okay, now board can't do all this stuff. You need to switch to a Pi board or something.
Yeah, I mean, so far I've been having fun with it.
Oh no, nothing wrong with what you're doing, Ben. It's really cool. I like it.
oh, it's definitely cool. It's And that's a challenge a lot. You hit a lot though, is finding enough space for code in those smaller.
Yeah, you have to get creative in what to remove from the libraries.
It's unfortunate, but there is a hardware. You think there'd be a hardware solution.
How many bytes of code did you actually get loaded into it?
I don't remember, but it maxed out the memory on you.
Wow, if it maxed out that memory means they put enough memory in it to begin with or something, or
Well, but what I'm thinking is maybe the processor is compatible with the Uno, but the reason they didn't use the Uno was they picked a processor with more memory. But if you're using the Arduino
well,
programmer,
they
do
could have
it,
just
program system may
switched it
not
to the
know
Pi
that
to
it's
begin
that
with or something, yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean they made that board very slim. Since they took out the programmer, the power supply, all that stuff, they cut down the Arduino to fit it in the body, I guess.
Mhm.
All right, so Ben, I got it figured out. Here's what you're gonna do. Here's what you need to do.
Okay.
Is we're gonna Fusion 360 an alternative internal frame component that holds all of the Todd hardware, so the Pi Zero and the I2C
Oh, it's such a
servo
Todd?
board and the IMU, and you're gonna Toddify it with
Codify it.
with the ROS2 thing they're working on, because if I
I-
had one more
there's-
set of eyeballs on that project, it would really take off.
There's definitely enough room here for a Todd.
Oh yeah.
Anybody. Todd will be roomy.
Yeah, you
And
gotta
if they have a Raspberry Pi board for thing, why don't you just switch over to that or something, you know?
Yeah, I mean that'll be a next project.
Yeah, get the 8 gig in there. You can do all kinds of stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking at the picture of the board. It says it's an Atmega 328p, 16 megahertz, RAM 2K, flash 32K.
And it's maxing out the memory on it with try to get everything in there at once?
32K isn't enough, apparently.
Apparently not.
Oh, it says there's a Raspberry Pi compatible interface, whatever that means.
Oh, that's something I probably would look into.
Oh, that's for the camera, maybe.
Don't know.
Yeah, but it's yeah, that memory is
Quite small.
memory is kind of low, and it's the Nye board V1. That's just the V.
Oh, that's
version-
not even a full Uno there. I don't think. If you
No,
compare it
it's-
to an Uno, I think it's got twice that much memory.
On the Uno is 32K.
Hey, Jim, are you ready to show your stuff?
All right, yeah, I'm
Ben,
gonna
are you finished? Ben, are you finished? I'm sorry, Ben.
Yes, I'm done.
wait
All right,
till
thank
yeah.
you, Ben. Everybody say, clap for Ben. Come on, guys. Hey,
That was cool, man.
thank you, Ben. I want to see more of that robot.
All right.
Jim, you're up, Jim.
Well, mine is just a quick demo of my old computer. It's gonna be on my phone connection. So please look to the other screen. Let me know if you can see it.
Oh, we see.
Oh, God. I see one of those since I was in Echo.
Can you hear me?
Echoey, but other than that, we can hear you okay.
You
Yeah,
gotta
Echo.
turn off one of your microphones, Jim.
It's the speaker. I have to turn off the speaker. I've got only one microphone. All right, now
Commodore 60.
speaker. I won't hear you. All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
So yeah, this is Space Invaders, and
this model didn't come with a audio, so I added a they had a custom little instructions on how to make your own little speaker resistor, whatever combination, and then plug it into the back. You have to get a compatible plug, but so I restored this back in 2015 or so, 2016, and then 2017. So I don't know if you can hear it. The sound is pretty light.
That sound's not coming through to me anyway.
Yeah, no, we just hear your keys clicking.
Oh,
Gotta
me
love those
just,
mechanical keyboards.
see if you can hear the sound now.
Yeah, we hear it now.
Yeah, it's very poor sound, but again, the sound is coming from this that thing right there. That's the custom sound.
Camera's upside down, Jim.
Maybe you should run it through an amp.
Okay, you just got to turn your computer over.
It's actually a pretty good sound for a homemade sound, basically homemade, speaker, whatever, homemade circuit. So, but yeah, I have, these are some of the programs. It's on
Oh, it's
cassette tape.
Yeah, it's got a cassette interface.
Yeah, you can see this is the old chiclet keyboard. We call it the chiclet keyboard because these keys are like chiclet candies.
Yeah, that was the type of keyboard that was available at the time.
Pretty terrible. It's like what it was. This is just what this is a nostalgic project because it was the first computer that I was introduced to in elementary school. First CRT based anyway. And yeah, this is the cassette here. Anyway, so yeah, it took me a while to restore it. It had problems, and even the screen developed a problem. I had to go in and replace capacitors in the video board, which was a kind of a pain. But also, here I'll show you the insides. Maybe I'll shut it off first. You can see it has that little the gun.
Oh, gee, that brings back some memories.
So yeah, look, I love this old transformer. It's like a guy that one of those vintage reviewer guys. He said it made him curl up into a fetal position when he sees this this transformer because it has a scary kind of a look to it.
It's probably
But
where
yeah.
most of the weight of the thing comes from.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. They make them a lot better nowadays, I guess.
Well, I mean,
Not
that
sure
was
it's-
practical at the time. Is discrete transformer, external transformer and capacitor.
Look at that CG RAM.
And I actually bought some, I replaced some of these RAM chips. Spent way too much money to get the original chips, but I ended up, this here is a new board that kind of replaces the RAM and the ROM for the system. And so you can emulate all the way up to the last models of this, the Commodore PET series. So I can run the newer programs with more RAM and everything. This machine was only, it was only an 8K 8K 2001, the hardware. But with this board, I bought this kit and soldered it together. Some guy in England put it together, and you just plug it into the processor slot, or the processor what do you call it, holder, and then you plug the processor into it, and then it's got this the RAM and the ROM there, and it's got dip switches that you can change the configuration to different models, and I guess people really like this sort of thing. The vintage community.
Sort of makes it sort of makes it compatible with all versions of the thing, it sounds like.
Yeah, well, you can, because this model was very limited. It couldn't even play the Space Invaders, I think, in the original hardware. Not that version I showed you, but with that board there, I can switch dip switches and get more RAM and different ROMs and everything. So I might go to a Commodore. There's a Commodore sort of users group in the Valley that used to meet once a year, but they haven't met in a couple of years because of COVID. Maybe I'll bring it there, but anyway, I'm gonna go back to my computer here.
I got a robotics meeting.
Yeah, thank you. That's unless you want me to load another program in, that's all for me.
Very cool, man.
That kind of makes me want to rebuild my my old Atari ST.
Oh yeah. So I spent a little time in the vintage computing realm, but not recently, because it does take your time. That's another hobby. But one of these days I may want to build a PDP-11 front panel, which is available from a guy, I forget where he's at. I think it might, I'm not sure if it's in the US, but he makes a beautiful replica of the front panel of the PDP-1170 with the orange and magenta colors and LEDs and dip switches and everything. And you just use a Raspberry Pi as the engine. And it's a kit for like a few $100s anyway.
So you upgraded the power with Pi, huh?
Yeah, and it runs all the software from it's an early, for those who don't know, it's an early Unix. It had RSTS. I use this thing called RSTS, but it was an early, and it was in BASIC language, and you said ready. That was the command prompt, ready. And you'd start typing BASIC language anyway, but if I had, well, I don't have the website ready, but if I do, I'll share. But thank you.
All right, Jim, thank you very much. Everybody give Jim a hand.
That's great.
All right, who's next here?
Does that mean if you did your early programming on it, that you're a vintage programmer?
Oh, I got you beat on all those type of programs. I even got to work with the AIM-65 stuff. One of the perks of going to Cal Poly Pomona at the time, one of the teachers was developing all these early computer stuff.
Yeah, I had a Kim and remember doing fourth on the
Yeah.
1170. Yeah.
Kim won, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have
my Kim. Yeah, it's the only computer I kept. Yeah.
I still have
hand
a
assembly.
I have my Altair 8800.
Yeah.
That was good too. I have a AIM-65 in a suitcase that still works.
Yeah. Rockwell AIM.
Has the basic and the fourth engine on it. Prints out a little paper tape thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that
Those
way
are
you can look
great.
at the program. One line video, one line screen there.
Yeah.
Hand assembly. Yeah.
Which one was that? What computer?
Rockwell
AIM-65.
AIM. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dance.
Rockwell.
AIM-65. I have a Kim 1 somewhere. One of the things that going to Cal Poly Pomona, a lot of the instructors and teachers were working for these various companies that one worked for Rockwell, one worked for Motorola, you know, so we got access to some of the stuff that they were developing.
Wow. Very
Mhm.
active in the fourth user group back in those days too.
I
Rockwell.
was part of the also an 1802 user group in up in Burbank. It was pretty cool.
All right,
Oh, I meant to say that I forgot to intro that this is a 43-year-old computer, 1978. So,
Well, I have a complete Apple II Plus in storage out here, fully loaded, but they probably dirty as hell right now. But I probably could, if I could resurrect it, that'd be sort of cool because I had everything, including the speech.
oh, wait, actually, I'm an Apple. My main computer was an Apple II Plus, so I can get I can show that another time if it's still all working. I haven't taken it out in a while, a few years.
okay, everyone. Again, thanks, Jim. Ross is up. Ross, you ready to go?
Sure, I think so. Let me turn off the background. Well, yeah, let's see.
Like your background, by the
The
way.
background is, I have to turn it off, otherwise you don't see anything. Anyway, good afternoon, everybody. I'm calling in, let's say, via HBRC in San Francisco, where I used to live when I was productively working on otherwise, which I'm not anymore. But anyway, when I retired, I moved up to here, which is a suburb of Toronto in Canada. So your meeting is international today, so to speak. The community up, the robot community up here is it's formulating, and I guess I'm doing what I can to create some enthusiastic robotics folks. Anyway, but what's good about this meeting for me is that it's at a good time zone. The HBRC meeting is it starts at 7 o'clock Pacific time, which is near my bedtime most of the time. So I appreciate the opportunity to come today. Anyway, what I would like to, I think what I'd like to show, which I think would be some interest here, is this thing called a nanosaur, which was announced just not only a couple of weeks ago, but being a Ross with one S person, I was intrigued by it, and because it was written for ROS Foxy. For those that are familiar with it, that is the latest implemented ROS 2 version, and it has been, the designer has built this, has to be the cutest robot going. And let me share my screen to show it here. Let's see, I guess I'll show. I should know how to do. Okay, here it is. Here's a video that the very short video that the designer, who's actually in Italy, see the video? Right now. Right now, it's only the code which is open source and on its own GitHub does tell up, which is what you were looking at there. Let's see, I guess I can actually show it. Okay, I put it together myself in my own way. The design includes a very extensive set of STL programs, so you can literally 3D print it yourself, all the pieces you want. You might guess that's okay. It uses a Jetson Nano. Show the guts. There it is there. And I have a couple of Jetson Nanos already, JetBot, which I love, but I decided to try their new lower expensive version, $69, $59 US, including the Wi-Fi. And there it is. I got it from Arrow Electronics in Nevada in 2 days, and bought the the tracked piece from Robot Shop. Let's see, underneath here, does this come off? Okay, well, here's the messy part. Let's see, how do I show this? Right, so it has a Raspberry Pi camera in there and a couple of OLED displays on the front, which currently don't show eyes, but I suspect he's going to write the code that'll make them animated in some cute way. I mean, it's a great entry level for somebody, or even school level, who want to actually benefit from the real power of the Nano or Jetson, the Jetson Nano code.
Is that a
So
Raspberry Pi board?
Pardon me?
Is that a Raspberry Pi variation board, or?
That's a Jetson Nano board. It's a Jetson.
Okay, I've heard about that one, but
It's
never
right.
played with one.
It's right here.
Oh, how cool!
So it's 59. I mean, this is the 2 gig version of it. They have a full 4 gig version for $79.95, I guess. To which you have to buy an Intel chip, an Intel Wi-Fi chip to make it work. It runs Unix or Ubuntu 18.04 native, and again, a really cool thing about this design is that to use Foxy, you need to be running Ubuntu 20, which is the latest long-term support version. And the designer, the GitHub, provides a Docker, which enables you to load. Well, you run the Docker is simply a virtual memory, a virtual machine, basically. I'm sure some people can describe it more accurately than that, but that's what it appears to be. So you load in that code onto this, and then about an hour later, after it's finished building and compiling, you end up with a command line that is Ubuntu 20.04 loaded with all the ROS code and the dependencies for this unit. So it's a nice turnkey thing. And I was amazed when I ran it the first time, the damn thing worked. You know, how often do you take something down from a GitHub, let it churn for an hour, and then come back and the damn cursor's working? You know, there you go.
Wow.
So let me show you, let me share it, just one last little piece here. Share the website, its support website that shows it what it's supposed to look like, not what I built. It's completely 3D printed, which is really very nice, including the treads for the track. It uses something called TPL. It's a rubbery, you end up with a rubbery substance that makes perfect tracks. And there you go. The designer is actually a real interesting person. He worked just until a couple of months ago. He worked for ARM in the UK and did all this work there. And he put on a seminar sponsored by NVIDIA just last week as a new employee of NVIDIA, in charge of, I guess you'd have to call it outreach, but he will be supporting these kinds of devices. So I wish to say I could get it to work, but hey, I've only had it for 2 weeks, so.
Still working on it.
Hey Ross, how does that compare with the JetBot? Like I haven't put it together, but the way I have the JetBot, Wave Share one, this one, but the green one there.
That's right.
Is that similar to what you have, and how do they compare with what you've got?
I guess the essential difference between them is the JetBot is not ROS.
Not ROS.
It's That doesn't mean, I mean, that's not a disadvantage, it's a setback, of course, but it's code, its code is, and its functions are to teach AI. Once you get your, I have one, I've had one now for a year and a half. Actually, it's coming up 2 years, come to think of it. Boy, the year of COVID seems to not exist, doesn't it? Yeah, the JetBot is really neat, of course, because you can do when you're done playing with it, you've got at least, you've learned the terminology associated with the principles of AI and deep learning and a lot of really good tutorials that are on board the NVIDIA stuff. The Nano is a ROS robot. It has telop. From the command line, you can do all the node and topic inquiries that are part of that world. I would say get one of each. Which is what I did. Yeah, and
of course.
entirely different things. And I guess while I'm while I'm finishing up here, I guess I should also mention do a pitch. I have no skin in NVIDIA's game, but the designer in this session that he presented last week was making a pitch for anybody that's interested in finding out, frankly, the latest in robotics as it applies to AI and things that hobbyists can do. NVIDIA has their annual, it's called GTC 2021, April 12th to the 16th, which is free. You can log into it. And let's see, I downloaded the page. Let's see, I have a page of each of those lines as a seminar related to Jetson, Jetson Nano, hands-on AI, learning robotics curriculum in high school. Again, if you're interested in following up on kind of this material I've introduced to today, take a look at the NVIDIA site and prowl around.
I pasted a link to the NanoSAR in the chat for anybody who's interested.
It's really cheap.
Thanks, Jim. I'll just look that
up. You're getting, you know, $79 for the controller. I mean, that's not a whole lot more than the big Raspberry Pi. The $15 motor driver. The Nano Cam. Actually, the second most expensive part is the camera. It's what, $30? And I found out the answer to a question many of you may have had in mind now. Okay, so how does it navigate? I didn't talk about any sensors except the camera. Well, that's the answer. The code doesn't exist yet, but I corresponded with him just yesterday about what his next plans are, and he pointed me to a ROS. Let's see. He mentioned, first of all, he mentioned there's still some issues with integrating the Raspberry Pi camera with ROS 2. Okay, I'm sure he'll solve that. But as far as being able to do obstacle avoidance and navigation using the camera, and there's only one camera, it's not stereo, but he pointed me to something called ORBSLAM, ORBSLAM, and MIDAS, which I've subsequently discovered, some clever folks have figured out how to generate 3D data with a single camera, and that's what he's going to implement. So that's pretty cool. I mean, you can't get stereo for less than big round numbers, $100 plus. And the fact that you can build a little robot like this with a single Raspberry Pi camera. Again, this is This is work in progress, of course, but
That's pretty cool, Ross.
it is. Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
And it's using ROS too.
It was worth logging in today, and well, you know what we're all like when you finished the physical construction, right? It's not screwed together yet. I'm still trying to figuring out the cables, but there you go.
Thank you.
Cool.
Very cool. Thanks, Ross.
I guess I got a final pitch for the HBRC. They have their monthly, actually their quarterly the show and tell on Wednesday night, 7 o'clock. It's not usually not like similar events you guys have. This one is a not to miss.
Yeah, a few of us are going, definitely showing up, doing a show on that. I know Thomas is. I'm going to try.
Yeah.
On the 31st, right?
Yeah, next Wednesday, 31st.
Yeah, we'll post it to the email list. We'll post the link to their club. And as always, all of our members are welcome to their club, and all of their members are welcome to our club. We are glad to be associated with yet one more robot club. We have 3 here, and plus the one in Northern California. We are glad to be part of your group as well. All right.
Thomas, are we doing show and tell or something?
We are. Tim, do you have something to show us?
I do.
You're
Couple
up,
things.
Tim. And if
Couple of
you
things.
anyway, wait, before you start, if anybody else has something to show and tell, please put it on the chat list so we can make sure we get to you.
All right. Well, I just finished putting together a little robot car thing that works with a 8266 board. It's Wi-Fi compatible. So this is what it looks like. The board, little car. The only problem is that since I've got a caster wheel on here, it doesn't steel straight. Or I guess the code originally made to have a 4-wheel vehicle. It's 2 wheels on each side, but I can drive it around with the Wi-Fi. It's really interesting on my phone. I think I can demonstrate. So you guys want to see it run around a little bit? All right, let me turn it on and get it here, and then I'll move my camera so we can see it. Okay. With the phone, I have to actually change my Wi-Fi connection to the board. So hold on a second here. Go to Wi-Fi and go to the car. I got a little app on the phone here that lets me drive it around. This is what the app on the phone looks like. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Let me get a little. That's what the app on the phone looks like. So I got buttons. Let's see. That's what's on the phone. And then hold on a second. I'm going to try to move the camera so you can see on the floor here. Can you see it there on the floor? Let's see, where is it? There it is.
Yeah, we see it.
Because the caster, it doesn't steer straight. I need to convert it to a 4-wheel vehicle. It's two motors on each side. The caster doesn't make it steer straight, even though I'm pushing the button straight, it goes in the curve. But you can see that it does work. Also, it has buttons on here, which I haven't hooked up for a light and a horn. One of the other things I want to do is I just got some of these modules in. I haven't done much with them yet. Is the got an ESP32 camera module. So that's basically, I can put this on cameras on set up a website or web page that actually has a live video coming off this camera. I haven't got it working. I just got it in the mail just a couple days ago. I haven't got too far into it yet. So some of the stuff I'm working on. Also on my LED mask, I finally got everything self-contained to the point where I can wear it now. Let's see. All the electronics is now in here. I have the speaker so I can wear it. And this I can wear in a backpack on the back of my back there. So it makes everything work. And it actually works pretty cool. I don't know if I should put it on or not, but I don't think I will. But I will turn on we'll turn it on here. I don't know if you guys seen this before, but there he is. There's the face. And the mouth is works off a microphone and the mask. So now I've got all the electronics in here, so I can wear it. So I haven't done it yet. One of these meetings, I'll probably come as a techno wizard. But that's some of the stuff I've been working on.
That's cool. You got it. Yeah, it's sort of more, compact and portable now.
Well, now I can wear it like this is a backpack type purse, so I could actually wear it on my back here. Then what I need to do now is this is the speaker. Unfortunately, I need to do something to make it wear around my neck, but it still looks a little bit weird. I need to dress it up a little bit, but it's practical. And to wear something over the bodysuit if it's on, then you won't see it at all. But it's getting there.
Print a little box for it.
Huh?
Print a little box for it so that it protects the.
Well, I don't know. The thing is, I'm not that great at modeling stuff yet in ROS or anything yet. So I'm working on. I've got a course on Blender. I'm trying to learn Blender right now. I'll see what happens, but hold on. My micro thing there. Anyway, that's what I'm working on, guys. So any questions or anything?
Fusion will be easier than Blender.
I'm sorry, what did you say?
That Fusion is easier than Blender, and that's the way you would need to do that.
Well, I mean, I'm also trying to learn. I've got a copy of SolidWorks here too, so I'm trying to learn that one too.
Yeah, that'll work.
I haven't got too far into it yet. So, any other questions or anything?
Tim, the display that you use for eyes, does it allow dimming of or it is full brightness all the time?
I'm sorry, say that again, Sergey? The eyes are randomly moving. I have no control over them, but it's randomly moving. That's what you're asking.
Well, I'm asking about the brightness of the eyes. Do you have control over the pixels there, turning them brighter or less?
It's not. The eyes are set at that intensity, and the eyes are randomly blinking and moving around by themselves. I have no direct control over it.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Even at that, it gives the illusion that I'm looking around, looking at you, see what's going on. Weird looking, because my eyes are actually where you see those eyes there. My eyes are just a little bit below those. It's just a little bit above my own eye level. And then the mouth is an LED thing right at the mouth thing there. And I have wearing a hockey mask underneath that everything's mounted onto. So that's what that's doing. If that's what you're asking, to answer your question. Okay.
Yes, thanks. You answered the question.
All right, cool. Any other questions?
What's the software and the board you're using?
I'm using a Adreno Wave Shield, and I'm using an Adreno Nano Uno to make it work.
Wave Shield.
Oh. Wave Shield has been modified. There was an experiment. This is combining several Adafruit projects together to make this thing go. So basically, one of the things with this voice thing was a voice changer thing, which you could change your voice on. I forgot to say that voice on there. I have a knob. I can adjust the voice and pick myself. It sound anything between Mickey Mouse to Darth Vader, and so it doesn't sound like me talking. And that goes through the voice thing, and then added on top of the program is the animation for the mouth and the animation for the eyes. Those are separate. Those are a separate other thing showing how to work with these 8x8 little display modules. So it's taking two different Adafruit projects and combining them together to create a cool looking mask thing.
Cool. That's
Probably next meeting I will come. Maybe I'll wear it for the meeting or something. Whatever. I'll invite myself as a friend of Tim here as a techno wizard or something. But anyway, so any other questions or anything, guys? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, anybody else? Anybody else want to go? Otherwise, I'm up if nobody else is gonna go. Last call for projects to show off. No? Okay. Thanks
Go for it, Thomas.
All right, I'm gonna go for it. So we've been working, well, first of all, we have this team of people helping out, and Tim is one of them, for building this robot behind me. Now this is actually version 1. I'm calling this the Get Her Done version. This is a robot that I put together as quickly as possible. It's obviously humanoid. A lot of you have seen bits and pieces of it. I've put various things up to YouTube and shown it here and there. And she's an animatronic humanoid full-scale robot, just like those little dolls, except she doesn't move as well as those little dolls. But then again, she's only had about 6 months of effort by one person. And this is phase 1. And phase 1, well, I'm gonna hook her up and hopefully show you a thing or two. Wish me luck here because I haven't had her turned on in a day or so, and you know how that happens to cause problems. Before I start, she has 3 degrees of freedom in each arm. There's a servo motor up here in the shoulder. And these are 60 kilograms centimeters. I don't know if you want to do the math, but I forget what the equivalent is in ounce inches, but they can lift quite a bit of weight. We have one here, again in the shoulder, one for the elbow, and one here to twist the forearm. The hand is solid. It's not articulated. It's rubber. It's soft. You can actually squeeze it. It feels almost like human flesh. Yes, the uncanny valley. It's cold like a corpse. So, her head is very functional. You can see this is silicone rubber too. I can push it in. I cheated. Underneath this silicone rubber mask is an Elvis alive head. This in her former life was Elvis Presley, as a matter of fact. If you look up Elvis alive, a few of you know that I had bought up 80 of these Elvis alive animatronic heads, and this is one of the last ones I have. And I stripped it down and I sanded it and grinded it down until it fit the contours of this mask. Additionally, she has rubber feet, and these are not articulated, but the stand she is on is remote control, and I have the remote control right now. This was converted from a toy, a kid's ride-on toy, and the reason I picked this up to use it was because I didn't have to do anything to it. I basically reconverted it, put the pedestal on top, and it works. Let me turn some lights on here and make it a little bit brighter. Just a second. There we go. Kind of like I'm in the dark here. This pedestal, I call it the Chariot. Yes, I'm a fan of Lost in Space. And the only problem is it moves too fast. But then again, I didn't want to tear it apart and make it work better. So she stands about 5.5 feet tall. Let's see. That's it on the articulation. I was looking at those doll robots, and I would love to have her be able to dance like that, but that's probably 2 years to put something together like that. Now you can see the pendant around her neck. That's a BB-8, and that's just a shell. Inside the pendant, there's a camera, so she can have all sorts of video AI. She can recognize faces and gestures and a person's emotions. I'm tapping into Microsoft Cognitive Services, as well as Watson. I also get Watson and face recognition, face following. It all comes through that camera. And on the back end, I'd like to say there was a Raspberry Pi doing Linux. Not Linux, ROS, but it's not. No, it's a Windows machine connected through Easy Robot, and now they call their software ARC, A-R-C. It allowed me to put together everything in a relatively short amount of time. And there was nothing similar to this, any plans out there. So this is all from scratch mostly. Well, except for the fact that everything was off the shelf. Okay, it was from scratch being the idea, but the actual composition is off the shelf. So, believe it or not, you can now buy body parts. Now these legs look like they go up, but they don't. They end right here. You can see after that, it's just steel pipes. Ruin the illusion, don't I? Whoops, keep the camera over there. And like the arms, they're attached to the armature. And I'm going to give a demo here and show you how it works. Let me put the camera down and get to the computer.
You know, Thomas, I would have used PVC piping rather than steel pipes because it would have been lighter.
And that was an option, but did not decide to go with that. Wanted the strength of steel. That's what I wanted. I didn't want this thing to bend or fall over. And if it bent or fell over, I would lose a lot of time and effort. So let me bring up the Easy Robot software and see if I can make it work.
I was showing while you were talking.
Tim, I'm going to need you to be quiet when I do the commands.
Right.
Otherwise,
No
she'll hear you and not me. I'm sorry, Tim. I didn't mean to be rude, but I have to save your questions for later, Tim, okay? Thank you. And everybody, please save your questions for later. I'm going to just try. It's going to do some audio, audio I/O, speech recognition, and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so you can see both of these, I think. Too many screens up. So what you're seeing is the ARC from Easy Robot. This is the main control panel. I have every motor here. Can you see my screen okay?
Yep.
Thank you. I have every motor mapped, the left shoulder, right shoulder, elbows, the forearm twist, the eyelid left and right, the eyes left and right, the eyes up and down, the jaw open and closed, the neck left and right, the neck left and up and down.
You might maximize the display.
Is that too small to see? Is that better?
Oh, it didn't resize. Okay.
Let me try that again. Let's try that again.
You can try to share just that window.
Yeah, good idea. Oops, I opened the whiteboard. I didn't mean to do that. Let's try that again. Share, optimize, share sound. There we go. And just the window. Is that better?
Yes.
All right. So I connect to the Wi-Fi, but I gotta plug it in. It's not on batteries yet.
Hey, Tim, I sent you a chat message about the eyes project.
Thank you. I'll look at it later.
That was a question. I meant anyway.
So this thing requires at least 10 amps, and at 10 amps, I'm still having brownouts. So that will have to be remedied. It costs.
Hey, Thomas, I'm not sure what happened, but your audio cut out. Are you still there?
Yeah, we can't hear Thomas.
Looks like we lost connection with the Thomas.
Oh,
Sorry
completely
about that.
Completely lost.
Since we lost him temporarily, Jim, is Adafruit had several different projects. That one was the sound project. One was working with these 8x8 LED display things. And then he came together making what he called a demon costume, and which combined together. So I did my variation of his mask part of it.
Right. Okay. The demon, because I saw a bunch of eyes as like these more elaborate eyes for the Raspberry Pi version.
Well, no, this one was all Adreno stuff. But it's using these little 8x8 module things that they sell. So I bought some there. So
yeah, those have got to be cheaper than those color ones.
Well, you can buy them in specific color. You can buy one that has a red and a green LED in it. The mouth has a red and a green LED in it. I just set it to green.
No, I mean it's cheaper than the RGB ones, though.
Oh, the little monitor ones. Yeah, that you talk about the ones actually. There's a little video thing of an eye blinking around.
Yeah.
Thomas, they sell like a little glasses thing version of that. I thought about getting that to mess around with for some of my animated pumpkin stuff, or Igor or something like that or something. But these other ones are sort of fun to play with because of the LED things, and you can do some cooler things with it.
It's more it's a retro kind of look.
Oh, I don't know about retro. I just
Hello, everybody again.
Okay, he's back.
Hey, welcome back.
Hey, welcome
I
back,
had a
Thomas.
blackout
Missed
at
you.
the house.
Oh. Well, when you said your robot used a lot of amps, you weren't kidding.
I had a blackout. My power went. Alan, can you take over till my Wi-Fi goes back up?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're just kind of open session right now. So Thomas will be back online and Wi-Fi in a few minutes, and let's just keep talking and catching up. So
Go back up now.
yeah, no problem.
What I found out was on my robot, I need to redo the hip joints because the way I designed it, I have the hips so that they can splay outward, but I can't fold forward at that point. So the robot can't sit down. And I didn't realize that until I started modeling it in the simulator.
Oh, right. Yeah, so you had a 2-axis, a 2-degree of freedom hip, so you could.
Yeah, I just got 1 degree of freedom now and I need 2.
Oh, okay.
The other thing I found out was that the simulator, the gazebo needs to be run as super user under the Unix in order to do the modeling. Has something, I'm sure there's something in the path that's not set up right, but I can't find it.
Oh,
Ross or Ross 2?
2.
Oh, okay. That I haven't done a lot of that yet, but it's entirely possible. It's a little rough around the edges.
So, and I also, one of the things that I plan on giving a presentation about is using the simulator to create joints that aren't endpoints. Because in my mechanism, the endpoints are not where you pivot. So you have to do a little editing to make that work. And I plan to do a little presentation to show how that's adjustable from within the gazebo modeling world.
that's cool, Les.
Yeah, that'll be interesting. I haven't done any modeling from within Gazebo. Normally I'll model outside and then import. So I'm excited to see what you've been doing.
Yeah, it's a little hard for me to do on the laptop because the laptop's really slow. I bought a new computer, but I'm reconfiguring my room right now. So I got room to set another table up, and I have a new computer with a RTX 3070 in it and 2 31-inch monitors. My eyes aren't as good as they used to be, so that'll help.
Oh, you hold on to that graphics card. They're like gold. How did you get it?
I happened on the new egg when they had a couple in stock, and I grabbed it.
Holy
I've been trying
smokes.
to get one for my grandson, and I keep going back, and they haven't come back in yet. And every place I look says it'll be sometime in August now.
Yeah, if times ever get tight or you get bored, you can sell that for at least 3 times what you bought it for. It's crazy right
Which
now.
model is that?
What is that?
RTX 3070.
What is that?
Oh, that's an expensive one, isn't it?
Well, it's not supposed to be, but but yeah, getting graphics cards right now are incredibly difficult because of all those gosh darn crypto miners.
Oh, it's the crypto miners now, huh?
Yeah.
But I mean, like
darn crypto.
That's still fairly expensive one, right? Because I mean, if it's thousands or it's like, or is it under 1,000? Or because the 20, I have like the 2070 or something. That was only like under 500 back. This is a 3070, you said?
Yes. Its target price is as 650 from Invaders. That's what they designed it to fit into, was a card that would sell for around 650.
Yeah, yeah.
But the crypto miners have pushed the demand up so high they've completely emptied the market.
Right, right. I didn't realize that that crypto miners. It's like the what do you call it? I mean, the whole thing over again that happened with Bitcoin.
Sheesh.
Yeah, and I'm being half sarcastic. There's actually a couple of challenges. There is a global chip shortage anyways. There's been some manufacturing challenges, and with the pandemic and a lot of people being at home more, there's a lot more appetite to spend a bit more on creature comforts than there were before. But yeah, those crypto miners definitely aren't helping.
Yeah, and that blockage in the Suez Canal isn't going to help any either.
Oh my gosh, have you been following that? A ship went sideways.
Oh, really? And
Oh yeah, it's stuck about 10 feet into the bank on one side, and then it was a 45-degree angle, and it's a 1,000-foot long ship, so it completely blocks the Suez Canal.
They
So
say it could cause another TP shortage.
yeah, it can cause all kinds. Everything comes through there. I was in the Straits of Hormuz for 11 and a half months on board the USS Fletcher when Khomeini threatened to mine the Straits. And they told us then that somewhere between 70 and 80% of the world's products are shipped through there. So
Yeah, it's holding up. I think I had heard that like 9 billion or something worth of product a day is being held up right now because no one can get through.
oh my gosh, really?
Something crazy like that.
there's a device called AITP, which is used to monitor commercial shipping. If you bring up the AITP map, you will see hundreds of little boxes blocked up on both ends because it's like almost 40,000 miles to sail around the area that you cut through with the Suez Canal. So it's a tremendous difference, and the ships can afford to wait because they won't burn as much fuel setting as they would trying to make the circumnavigation of it. It's really a big deal.
So there's a video saying that it finally moved 17 meters. So there's a lot of excitement right now.
17 meters is enough.
Of course, it's not enough, but after, I mean, since Tuesday, I mean, it's such a huge deal.
Yeah, the best thing they could do is offload some of the cargo, but at the angle it's setting at, they can't even get to it to do that. If they could lift, say, 30% of the cargo off, the ship would probably float itself free.
Oh, yeah. So they were talking about draining out some of the oil, but then it would be too top heavy and flip over. They don't have cranes big enough to pull the containers off the top. So they literally can't make it lighter.
That's right.
A very interesting engineering challenge.
Yeah, without lifting the containers off the top, they're pretty
I
much.
thought they were having a lot of problems in the ports of Los Angeles and parts of Long Beach. Couldn't get this stuff off the ships either. Is that still happening, or?
I wonder if they could use helicopters if they're big enough to handle those containers and just move them off the side.
Yeah, why not? A heavy duty helicopter could, well.
All right. Yeah.
Well,
so
it's probably just cheaper to stay where they're at, just sit there than to do anything.
It's not cheaper to let it sit there, but the problem for helicopters is right in that area. You can't tell it from looking at the maps, but it's kind of a gulch. So there's a lot of wind through there. So you can't
you could get a helicopter through that.
to do that reliably. I mean, it could be done, but it would be quite dangerous, I would think. I've been up there. That's a terrible place. I mean, it's just miserable. And the Suez Canal is really silted up. So once that ship sticks into the mud there's a vacuum that forms around it, and it's, really tough to move anything that gets lodged in there.
Ooh.
Yep, Carl just provided a great link in chat. Is the ship still stuck.com?
It's so funny. Yeah,
Oh,
it just says yes.
That's a great
yeah,
title.
400 million an hour. Yeah.
I've only seen that happen one other time. I happened to be up at Bremerton, Washington, when one of the repair ships, a tender, lost steerage and ran into the freeway up at in the Straits of Juan de Fuca up in Washington State. And of course, sailors having the sense of humor that they went over to the other ship's gangplank and hung a banner over it that said, the USS Berry Roadrunner.
Oh, man.
There's a story that goes around, talks about a little old drunk driving down the freeway, and he saw the ship stuck in there. He jumps out of the truck, throws his bottle away, turns around and goes back into town. And people wonder if he's sobered up forever after that.
Well, that's something you wouldn't see that part inland at all. But yeah.
It literally cut 2 lanes of the freeway there.
Oh, gee.
You wonder about the skipper of that vessel and what, the shame involved in this one. I mean, the Suez Canal guy. Oof.
Well, you know, if you lose a hydraulic ram on one of those rudders, there's nothing you can do about it. That rudder will slam over and the ship's moving probably 4 to 5 knots in that canal, maybe a little faster. And that's millions of tons of weight.
Mm.
And it just plows right ahead. It doesn't stop until there's enough force built up against it to hold it. It's literally the immovable object and irresistible force.
Yep.
Right. Might not be his fault.
Take out bridges, take out roads, take out parts of the freeway.
So the report said it was going over the speed limit, so that's probably an issue there.
I don't know that it was, but they tried to transit fairly quickly because they do have to keep a certain speed up in order to have steerage weight.
Oh, really?
There's no controlling cables or anything. They don't have bow thrusters or any of that on them. There's just a big screw at the back. It's a single screw ship. If it goes too slow, it suffers from something called prop walk. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, each whip of that prop, the lower end of the prop is in much denser water than the top end of the prop. So depending on which way it's moving, it'll either throw the ship to the left or the right. When I sailed my own boat with a prop, I had a 20-inch prop on it, and I could turn the boat around using prop walk by just gradually shifting back and forth from neutral to one direction, and the boat would turn based on the prop walk.
Oh, wow. That's interesting.
So those props on those big ships they're about 50 feet in diameter.
Yeah, I don't know how many of you fall down internet and YouTube rabbit holes, but the sheer size and scale of these container ships who are being built literally around the limits of the canals they have to traverse. Like, I almost want to schedule a vacation to see one up close. Like in that Ship Still Stuck page that Carl posted, they have some pictures of it stuck, and each one of those little boxes is a shipping container. Like, these things are unbelievably
Oh, no,
huge.
these things are huge.
Yeah.
I mean, you've ever been down to the port of Long Beach there and watch them unload these things? These things are big. The ship's even bigger.
Each container can have up to 40 tons of cargo in it.
Yeah.
So I wonder if that's the problem. I wonder what the max lift is of like our heaviest duty helicopter.
Oh, they're about 65 or 70 tons. They can pick up an M1 Abrams, which is 65 tons.
Okay, so in theory, yeah, if times got tough, they could. Okay.
But it costs a bundle to run one of those helicopters, and I don't think there are any of them in that area. The other problem you have is most of the countries along that area don't allow any Americans to land. So the helicopter can't land, and those big helicopters don't have in-air refueling. So they'd only be able to make 4 or 5 lifts, and then they have to travel about 300 miles to the next place where they could land and refuel.
Yeah.
And they can't do it on an aircraft carrier. They're too big to land on a carrier.
Les, you might know, in rough seas, those container ships, they get rid of the top layers of containers, and that becomes a sea-going hazard for small boats. Is it possible in some way to pull those with, ropes of some kind, cables?
I don't know. The boats themselves have very strong tie points. They're called bollards on the boats, actually, rather than standard strong points or something like that. And the cable they use are 4-inch spectra. And I don't know what the breaking point of that stuff is. I've seen it on the ocean-going tugs. I've seen the lines stretch, and I've even seen them smoking at sea when the waves were heavy. They would get so hot during the tow that they would make steam from the seawater soaking into the cable.
I was talking about a different thing. Imagine that you have a container ship heavily loaded, actually overloaded, and they're going through the ocean and they didn't count on a typhoon coming,
Yeah.
So for them to survive that rough seas, they have to get rid of some of the containers on the top layer.
They cannot do that at sea. They're stuck.
That's what I was told in the Coast Guard courses, you know, that's.
Yeah, they need a crane, and they don't have a crane on board that can do that. The repair ship I was on in 1969 or thereabouts had a 20-ton crane, 2 of them, that were fixed mount on the center line of the ship I was on. And that was at the time, that was the largest seagoing crane where it would actually go in the open ocean. Now, today they have bigger ones that they use on some of the oil rigs, but they can't really, they have to actually anchor somehow in order to use the big cranes like that. So like if they're going out to work on the oil rigs, they send down anchors that have charges or something that sink the anchors down into the seabed while they're working. And I don't think that would work there because, like I said, the Suez Canal is so, the only word I can think of to describe it is yucky, all right? It's human effluent and
Well, when you get rid of those containers, you don't have to be gentle with them. All you need to do is to pull them overboard, you know.
Yeah, they're kind of locked together when they're in place. I don't know the mechanism. I was never working directly with the loading and unloading of containers, but they do have a mechanism that interlocks them. So they kind of sit there. They have to be picked up vertically several inches before they can be moved.
I think I saw a Lego logo on them.
Yeah, it's miserable. It's a real problem. And the other thing you have is while it's loaded like that and anchored as it is there, you can't really put a strain on the side of the ship, or you could roll it over. And then they'd have a real mess. It would take years to clean that up. So it's a tough problem. My sympathies are with the engineers. That's a problem and a half.
Yeah, and in case anyone was curious, a quick Google search suggests that fully loaded, the Everclear, Ever Given can hold 20,000 plus containers.
Times 80,000 pounds. 1.6 trillion pounds of
It's all right. They got a bucket loader there. I'm sure they'll get it cleared up in no time. The picture is hilarious.
That engineer's scratching his head for sure.
Oh, it's just, I
Oh,
posted
have you
some
seen the
links, but it's perfect meme fodder. Yeah.
With the little excavator that they had trying to dig away the dirt around just the difference in scale. And that's not a small excavator. That's a pretty big piece of
You look
equipment.
at the guy standing behind it, and he's standing there next to the wheel. The wheel's twice as tall as he is. And it's a tiny little thing.
Oh man.
I used to get tickled because I would go with the Coast Guard guys sometimes in their lectures to people, and they would say, gross tonnage has the right of way. So you don't challenge one of those container ships. Do you know how long it takes one to stop at sea? 5 miles. There's no gear shift. In order to reverse the propeller, they stop the engine, then they switch the valve train, and then they start the engine again running in the opposite direction. And it's a direct drive shaft to the screw to turn the ship's propeller in the other direction. And that's how they slow it down to come into harbor. So they start about 10 or 15 miles out from the harbor. They shut the engine down. They reverse the cam. They start the engine back up, and that slows it down. Then they have to shut the engine down, reverse the engine, turn the screw back on, and come into the harbor at slow speed. And then you see all the tugs come out to manipulate it. It takes about 10 tugs to move one of those things around. So it gives you some idea of what they have to go through, and what you can imagine the force that hit that bank when that thing turned. So it's an amazing amount of force. And then it's even more amazing when you're out at sea and you see in heavy waves, you see one of those things come halfway out of the water off the top of a stormy sea. And you just can't believe it. It's 500 feet of ship sticking out of the side of a wave like a surfboard. It's You know, and I've been beside carriers. The ship I was on was 564 feet long, and we thought it was a big ship. And if you go on board the battleship, you see that it's 1,054 feet. So the ship they're on there is almost a third longer than that. I think it's 1,300 feet. That's what they call Suez Max. And the size limit is determined by the depth of the Suez Canal and by the width of it. So the dimensions of the ship tell it how much tonnage it can carry and the width that it has to be so two ships can pass in the canal. And when they pass, it's narrow. There's like maybe 30 or 40 feet between them, ships that are 1,000 feet long or more. It's something else. You know, in my 20 years in sea, the one thing I learned respect for was the ocean, because the things that I've seen out there are just unbelievable. I saw one of those oarfish, they call it. It's a long, thin fish. We called it a ribbon fish at the time because that's what it looked like. They're about maybe 10 or 12 inches thick and maybe 2 or 3 feet wide vertically. And this one was maybe 100 or 120 feet long.
Oh, gee.
And then you see blue whales. A blue whale can be 110 feet long and 70 or 80 tons.
Oh, wow. That must have been cool to look at.
Yeah. I saw one from my own small boat off the shore of San Clemente here.
Oh, gee.
We were about maybe 200 or 300 yards away. My wife looks over and she says, I don't remember an island being out there. I look over and there's the back of a blue whale.
Came up for some air, I guess.
Yes, it was I think we were about the first sighting in the area in some large number of years. Now you see them periodically here because the blue whales are making a comeback. You got to think those things eat almost 100 tons of fish a day.
Oh, gee.
Krill and stuff. And it's amazing.
Okay, guys, you ready for a demo?
You bet.
Go for it, man.
We've been talking boats for about a few minutes here. Probably should get
no
back
problem.
to robots. Of course, some of those boats now are being run by automation, aren't they?
Not too many of them. They have an autopilot of sorts, but basically you still rely mostly on human control because there's so much out there that you just can't compensate for.
Yeah, and pirates as well. A pirate would love to get a hold of one of those cruise ships.
But you got to remember too, those huge container ships, the crew of men is about 35 men.
Right. All right, so we're talking about Simone the robot here. And I've gotten everything connected once again, and we're just going to go through a quick demo. It tends to foul up again because I don't have enough amperage. I'm running 30 amps. It probably needs 50 amps because those arm motors alone are taking at least 10.
Wow.
Yeah. So it may brown out. If I have a brownout, I'll have to start all over because then the limb starts swinging along uncontrollably, and that'll break things. Let me share my screen again. Are you seeing my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so it's hooked up and it's running. You can see the eye routine is running. It's blinking. The first thing I did is a hello world. Everybody should do a hello world. This is usually what kills it. So if it stops in the middle, okay. Let me make sure that I'm going to do a share again, make sure the audio is correct. No, the audio is wrong. I'm going to reshare this. Okay. So tell me if you can hear it. Well, let me initialize it again.
Initializing. Please stand by.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
So this is the hello world routine. And a young gal named Britt, who is part of our group, she helped me with this a lot, and she's not here today. So I just wanted to give her a thank you.
Hello.
Formally.
Welcome to Open Thembot. I am Simone.
I look at those dancing dolls, I go, wow, I need to work harder. All right. So she's voice actuated, and I would request that absolutely no one speak, because when you speak, she speaks, because the mouth is triggered off of the audio coming from the computer, and it's all on the same computer that I'm running my Zoom through.
Okay, so Thomas, just so you know, you're sharing your application window right now. So I wasn't sure if you wanted us to look at the program or watch.
Oh, don't we have both windows, or did it shut off the camera?
Well, the camera might be showing up
If
small
you
up in
if
the
you
corner
change your
for-
view to side-by-side presenter, when he's speaking, you'll see both the display and the robot.
Okay.
You see her mouth moving when anybody talks? As the presenter, I don't see my own screen, so I don't know what's going on here. It hid it from me. All right. I'm going to keep this down. We've been going here a while. So these are the basic routines I have. Wink, blink, eyes left and right, eyes up and down, mouth open. This is like her neck turning. And her left elbow. Let me find my cheat sheet. Oh, there we go. You see that arm? That wasn't good. That's a brownout.
Initializing. Please stand by.
Yeah, those elbow motors are quite beefy. Again, let me find my cheat sheet. So this is all using AIML. I can run any motor from AIML, any scripts. I can trigger scripts from within the ARC through AIML. So everything's on audio. Look left. That didn't work at all, did it? Maybe I'll have to save the rest of this demo for another time. Yes, it's picking up my speech, but it didn't find the routine. Let's try one more. Close your eyes. Could not find a response. Interesting. Well, we definitely have a glitch. I could say it worked at home, but I won't say that because we're not allowed to. So any questions before I open the conversation back up?
No, you mentioned Britt was helping out a little bit, and you had talked a lot about the AIML and scripting stuff. What I was curious about is, so there's this AIML chatbot that, you everyone's working on, and then you've got some of these voice prompts. Is there any overlap between the two?
Inside the AIML, you can give it voice prompts to run servo motors. I can share that screen. So here's your AIML. And any command inside of square brackets is recognized by ARC and triggers whatever commands are inside of ARC.
Okay, is that the problem up there on line 5, the 3 Z's to the right of / pattern?
Where are you looking?
Oh, from the very top. If it's having a problem,
the top, not that top.
Sorry, I guess the other top. Oh, do you see it right there? Stop.
In the middle, next to your cursor.
Next to my cursor, you're saying 3 Z's? Is that?
Yep, go up about 2 inches. Or
right there. Yes, that might be killing it. That is, yeah, you are an excellent debugger.
You are welcome.
Thank you so much. Let's see if that helps. All right. Can you still see Simone?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm going to switch. Let's see if that works there. I'm going to reset the AIML. And I'm triggering this manually because it's easier when I'm demoing it. Close your eyes. Another time. I guess something's wrong, and I don't know what it is right now. It should be running just properly. Anyway, let's show you a little bit more of this. Now that I have all the basic motor commands coded, I'm starting to get into the more complex subroutines, like saying no, and then the body movements associated with yes, high five, oh my God, goodbye, hello, scared, sleepy, blah, 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 on and on. And each one of those is going to require a separate script. The beauty of this thing is you can program in each script. It's all visual. Obviously, you can't see that. It just opened the second screen. Can you see the second screen now?
Yeah.
So here's a typical servo command. I'm using a variable to tell it it's the right lid and move to this number. And so this is how it does its sleepy eye opening. And you can program text to speech right in. This is called the say command. Say, quote, I am Simone. You see, I had to spell it out differently because it didn't pronounce it properly when it was spelled out. And we open the mouth and close the mouth. And then we saw that screen. This is where I'm doing the voice recognition and the speech synthesis. I also installed a light on it, so when it's listening, the light will turn green. This is sensors. Let's see if the sensors are working. I have sensors on the left shoulder, the right shoulder, and the belly. Let's try the belly.
Stop. That tickles.
Did everyone hear that response?
Yeah.
And we can start up these sensors too. And of course, it'll all be started on a single script that'll trigger these scripts. Variable is not defined. Oh, that's because I got to turn this on. So now I've got all three sensors running.
What? Who's there?
And the mouth's not working because it's not turned on. There. Try again.
What? Who's there?
It was unbelievably simple to get these sensors working and responding. Basically, you hook them up, set a voltage threshold, and you're on. One thing I found that was really easy is I use this tape, this aluminum foil tape, to extend the sensors. Whereas the touch area was like a 1/4 inch, of course I extended it like 3 inches. This is my settings and debugging, and here's my AI. None of this is hooked up. This is the last phase of it. It can detect by your speech what you're feeling using the sentiment. I have Google Cognitive Services running vision and emotion and face identification. It can identify me because it's learned my face. I also have Darknet YOLO object classification, which we all know is a pain in the neck to get running, but they put it into a little package and you're off and using it in a matter of minutes. So all that effort I put in the last couple of years trying to get it to work, well, somebody got it to work and I just grabbed it. This is all built in. This is all part of the ARC package, the ARC environment. Anyway, that's about it for today. Hopefully next time I'll have more of it working on command.
All right, looks good. You and your team are making a lot of progress on this.
Very good, Thomas.
Very cool.
Thanks.
You get the power supply locked down now.
Yes, I got to get that power supply. I either got to up the amperage. I may be, everything's being sourced through the board, so it may be a easy robot board limitation that I can't get enough amperage through it, and that may be giving me that brownout.
Without even looking at it, I can almost guarantee that's one of your challenges. You may want to source the power outside of the easy robot board, for sure.
Yes, especially for those 4 heavy-duty servos. Those are what's probably draining it. I've never had this much power being taken through the easy robot board, so I was skeptical whether it could handle it at all.
Well, which motors draw, the ARM motors draw the most current?
They do.
Then you should power them separately.
I will. That's just another 8 hours.
Not with my help, it won't be.
You can't get over here, Tim, till you've had your shots and I've had my shots.
Never say never, Thomas. If you can train here and back, I can train there and back. So we'll talk about it after the meeting.
After the meeting. All right. Is there anybody else who wants to show off what they've got? Anybody? Phil McCary, you got anything? No. Anybody else?
Yeah, that's okay. We're actually ran a little bit long for this morning. So I think we're at the, oh, is Simone mimicking me because I'm talking?
She is.
Hello.
And I want to welcome Buttercup Biscotti to the meeting. She's been here before. Her actual name is Laurel, and a few of you have met Laurel before. If you want to just say hello, Laurel, this is a friend of mine. She's helped us out at many robot expos and robot meetings before. She's a very helpful person.
Hi, Laurel.
Hello.
Anyway, yeah, I guess we've run out of time.
So we've finished the main meeting. I'm going to go ahead and turn off the recording.